Hi everyone, I'm Amber. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be reviewing Tarot. Essentially, it's a spooky movie about cursed tarot cards. And anyone who gets their reading done by these tarot cards is cursed. And they are forced to die based on what their card showed. So essentially, back in the 18th century, an astrologer would read the tarot cards of this Hungarian court leader, and basically, he had a wife who was pregnant at the time, and the astrologer read his cards, or her cards rather, and saw that her and the baby would die in childbirth. And of course, he didn't want that. He wanted a different outcome. She kept trying to find a different outcome, but it kept showing up that way. So eventually, the wife gives birth, and her and the baby die in childbirth. And in turn, because he is very upset and very angry and outraged by this, he shuns her from the court and kills her child. And in rage, she makes this cursed tarot card deck and kills, I think it's like everyone in his court and him, that gets that she ends up reading for. I don't know if she ends up reading for him again, or it's because she has read to him. I don't know. So that happens, and basically the deck basically gets lost as time passes. Different people encounter it, and they die mysterious deaths. There ends up being one lady who, her friends died. She read their cards, but she never read her own, and that's why she's still alive. But these cards make it in the hands of a group of friends. I believe they're college students, and they're like at a weekend birthday get together for one of the girls. And one of them, who is newly no longer in a relationship with her boyfriend, who's also part of the friend group, and it's awkward. So she's newly single, and basically she reads all their cards, and it's kind of a like tense, kind of awkward, reading, because she's also kind of getting into it with the ex, and then her friends are making like jokes and asking questions, and just it becomes sort of just kind of like, okay, here, this is what's gonna happen, and like, and everyone's like, ooh, like, but not really believing it, but they're like, oh, okay, and having a good time, and also having a weird, awkward time because of everything that's happening with their relationship. And so then in turn, she reads her own cards, and then they go home. And basically, the birthday girl is the first who basically gets murdered by the thing that ended up being her reading her card. And essentially, this lady that cursed the cards turns into whatever these things are, and goes and kills these people. And like, she makes the tarot prediction come true. So if it says, don't go into blah 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 dark alleys, she like makes them go in a dark alley. They have like no choice. It kind of reminded me of the, what's that kid's book, Scary Stories to Read in the Dark, or something like that. That movie, where they were like reading the story, and they're like, okay, don't do that, and then the thing ended up making that happen. So it was very reminiscent of that, I think. And so, yeah, she gets killed. Everyone's like, oh my goodness, and everything. And then her girlfriend is like crying and everything. And then in turn, like, another person dies, and then they start to catch on, like, oh my goodness, like, why are we all dying? Oh, they're dying in the way of the tarot cards. Who's next? It would have been cool that, like, they died in, like, the way that their cards were read, like this person was first and then this person was second. I don't know if it was like that, because they seemed like confused as to who was next, and then there were some people that died, like, or their things came simultaneously. There was this one kid, he's the guy from, like, Spider-Man, the best friend, his name is Paxton, I think. His thing came out, and he didn't even die. Like, he came back later, and I thought he was gonna be, like, the thing, like, disguised as him, but he came in, like, basically was the getaway car, like, at the end. He was like, come on, let's go. But the thing was there, so I don't know how he avoided it. It was like the jokester, the trickster, and it was like he was in an elevator and basically was trying to get in and kill him. So I don't know how he escaped it. He was just like, I did it, you know? Like, he's like, I'm man enough to do it, like, you know? And I'm just like, but how? It was one of those, like, endings to, like, a scary movie where it's like, yeah, I escaped it, and I'm like, but how? I don't understand. Okay. Just because, like, I guess he was a well-liked character. I didn't like him. He was just too, egotistical, very self-centered, but, yeah, and then, like, basically all of them die except for, like, the two that were, like, the couple, and then they, I don't know if they're going to potentially get back together, but, like, they kind of reminisce as, you know, the events kind of happen. And they're left, you know, as the last two and this guy. Even the lady who didn't die in the last, like, chunk of people, like, she got her cards read by the thing, and that's how she ended up dying. Because they were trying to basically, like, summon the astrologer and, like, convince her, like, hey, you don't need to do this anymore, like, they're dead. But she was, like, so, like, deeply into it, enjoying it, but it was, like, in turn also torturing her, so it was just kind of like this black magic thing just kind of, like, had become her, and transformed her into this dark entity thing, and so, yeah, I feel like I've seen movies like this before, like I said, or movies that, like, were similar to this, especially scary movies. Like, I've seen a lot of scary movies where it's, like, this thing that's cursed that gets lost in time, and someone finds it, and these group of kids die. And it's like, oh, well. And then everyone's like, this, you know, like, mysterious deaths, and nobody knows what happened, and then years pass, and it's like, oh, another collection of mysterious deaths, and there's just no, like, you know, knowing what exactly caused it, and then it's this movie about this group of teens, or this group of people who end up finding it again, and die, and one or two end up living, and there's romantic tension, and I'm just like, we've been here. And then there's the goofy best friend, who, like, I just, and then, like, honestly, like, that one girl, like, the girlfriend who, like, she made it almost to the end. She honestly could have survived, but the thing ended up getting her, like, at the very, very end. But, yeah, and then the tarot deck is basically destroyed. And I think they were also trying to read her cards at one point, so that way, like, it can turn it back on her. I don't know if that's what ended it. I know the deck got destroyed, so it's been a little bit since I've watched this movie. Anyway, it ended. The deck got destroyed. The entity got destroyed. Or so I think. I don't know what scary movies they might not have been. It could have been The Friend. I don't know. And so, like, yeah, essentially they're the group that stops it. And that, I feel like, again, like, with Truth or Dare, scary stories to tell in the dark. What's the other one? I just saw this one too. Talk to Me. Like, it's just, like, very repetitive. And there's always, like, this evil entity demon thing that, like, is stuck and, like, basically it gives this thing its cursed power and will basically attack and murder these kids if this thing is used. So therefore it needs to be destroyed, but it keeps getting passed down somehow, some way. So yeah, so like I watched it. Did I enjoy it? No. And then again, like it's a very common trope. So there's movies of it like that I just can't escape, and some I enjoy, some I like. Okay, those that was a little different, and some I'm just like, we've been here before, we've done this. It wasn't even done well. Like, I just didn't feel like this was done well. I thought it was very, very, very much like movies I've seen before, and just kind of there was nothing to make it different, nothing to make it interesting, or really all too entertaining. We already knew what was gonna happen. Um. So yeah. I wasn't attached to the couple like I usually am. I wasn't attached to any particular character. I just kind of was sitting through it, and I was just like, uh huh, yeah, uh huh. I wasn't at the edge of my seat for any of this. And then like a lot of scary movies nowadays. Like, I love a scary movie. I get scared so easily. I jump, especially in the movie theaters. Like, it could have been just a loud sound, and I would jump. But like the things weren't even that scary. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I don't want to see this. I was like watching it, and I was just like, oh, okay. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I really, really want to watch a good scary movie right now too. So we'll see what I can find after I post this video. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see y'all real soon. Bye!